Hey guys, Bart with Bicycle Rider YouTube, and I have something really special here. This is the 2022 Specialized Crux. The Specialized Crux is all new for 2022, and they have coined the phrase gravel enlightenment. I think that phrase fits this bike perfectly. There's several reasons that gravel enlightenment describes this bike. One, because gravel racing is really becoming a very sought after sport to enter. It brings in peoples from so many different genres: road racing, triathlon, mountain biking, running, endurance event, and it kind of all brings everybody together in one sport that they're calling gravel racing. Specialized felt like they needed to up the game on the gravel racing scene and make a specific gravel racing bike. This is a bike that's highly compliant. That means it feels good. It rides over rough terrain like butter. And the way they did this is phenomenal. I've spent the last few hours talking to some of the engineers that built this bike, that created these tubes, that put this magnificent masterpiece together. And I got the story on just why and how they did that. How did I do that? Because I'm sitting here in my hotel room here in Golden, Colorado, where a Specialized bicycle company sent some of their, some of their retailers for a retreat. And during their retreat, we're able to touch and feel and see some of the new products that are coming out on the market for 2022, to ride some of the bikes, to talk to the people who have been riding these bikes secretly for the last few months before the product launches, and talk to the engineers behind these things. So the last few hours, I've got a wealth of knowledge on this bike. It's almost 11 o'clock at night, and it's been a long day of riding my bike or several bikes around some awesome terrain. So I'm so excited about this bike that I figured I'd start a little video right here in the hotel room tonight. I'm also getting up early in the morning to ride more bikes, so I can't do this all night. But let me just show you some of the quick touch points of this bike that are very, very interesting. One is the frame. I mean, this is a 16-pound bike, and a 16-pound bike that can handle the rigors of an off-road situation. They did this by really manipulating the carbon fiber and the way these tubes are made. It's a whole new technology, and when you look at this diamond frame, basically you're seeing basically a frame that you might recognize from years and years of bicycling. But the inner workings of this is phenomenal. The engineers' notes are phenomenal. How they came up with just these tubes, the right tubes, to come up with a bike that is light, that is compliant, but still rides very, very well, very planted and very predictable. And that's one thing when you talk about gravel bikes. They're very predictable. Road bikes are a little bit more twitchy. You don't get quite the tire clearance that you do on a gravel bike. And the way Specialized has put this together, this is a bike that is very interchangeable with parts. For one, it's running a SRAM access electronic group set. And one thing nice about SRAM is you can interchange, rear derailleurs, rear cassettes, front sprockets, cranks. You can add a front derailleur to this bike. If you wanted to make this bike basically your road bike, you could do that. It is running the new Roval Terra CLX rims, and this bike comes stock with a 38 millimeter tire. 38 millimeter tire is a lot bigger than you're used to seeing on a road bike. A lot of road bikes are being spec'd now with 28 millimeter tires or 26 millimeter tires, and you can mount a 32 millimeter tire to this rim to definitely give it more of a road bike feel. A 32 millimeter tire is going to roll a little bit faster than a 38 millimeter tire, and it's also going to lower the bottom bracket just a little bit because you don't have as much tire sticking out. But for all intents and purposes, this could be a fantastic road bike. Especially if you're looking for something with a little bit more endurance geometry, something that is still very, very fast, Very, very responsive, but predictable in handling, and you know, let you spend all day in the saddle without you know, feeling fatigued. So road bike, this could be one bike that does multiple things, but it is a gravel racer, so you can put up to a 47 millimeter tire. Oh, so almost a 50 millimeter tire on this, and that's a 700C. If you went it down to a 27 and a half, you could put almost a 2.1 millimeter tire, like a small mountain bike, you know, tire on it. So with tire. So it's very configurable. You can actually put, it comes with a 44 to 10 cassette in the back, and comes stock with a 40-tooth front chainring. So it's one by setup. Now this setup is almost perfect for gravel. You have such a big gear range in the back, but yet you have a 10, so it's very, very fast. If you wanted to go up to a bigger one by sprocket, I believe you could put a 42 on there, which would make this bike, you know, very capable for those very fast gravel races. Or you can make it a 2x as well. So they do give you the spot for a front derailleur. I'm not exactly sure how big of a sprocket you could put on if you went to 2x on this, but just know this bike is very configurable. If you really want a one bike to do road and to do gravel and to do it very efficiently, this bike could definitely do it. And with a 16-pound weight, it's a very light bike. So, you know, it's probably lighter than most road bikes on the market right now. And Specialized accomplished that. A lot of it is with this frame, the way they've done these tubes and manipulated this carbon fiber to just get the perfect shapes for not only ride feel, compliance, you have stiffness in the right spots. It's a modern feat of you know, mechanical engineering that went into this bike to come up with this. So I really have good things planned for this bike on myself. Now this year, you know, I'm going to be racing the 2022 Mississippi Gravel Cup on a Specialized Diverge. And the Specialized Diverge definitely has its place as a gravel bike. You know, it's well rooted. We've been racing that bike for years. I raced Specialized Diverge base carbon in the 2020 Mississippi Gravel Cup, and I had some success. So, you know, I put that bike on a first place podium. I think I got third place in the series overall, of course, in my age group. But that bike makes a very good gravel bike, and it does have plenty of mounts and stuff. If you want to do more adventure riding, bike packing, stuff like that, the Diverge has the Future Shock. It's a great adventure bike that is super fast as well. But now, you know, the Crux is going to be their gravel race bike. So there isn't, you know, there's not any mounting points for bags or anything. You know, I did see people put on a bento bag on the front, you know, a strap-on bento bag on the front. And I think that's mainly what racers want. They just want a little something for their goo. Most people are putting on a number plate and actually going to go try to hit a podium, keep things very light, keep things very aero, and they use their pockets or their swap pockets to put water bottles and nutrition on. So this is not a bike packing bike, but it sure rides fantastic. When I was talking to a guy, he's had, you know, this bike secretly for over a month now, and really put it through, you know, some terrain out in Fruta, Colorado. And there's great road riding and great trails, great gravel, and this bike has been all over that place riding, and it's put a smile on this guy's face because it just rides so well. So just know, like I said, this is the S-Works model. It's spec'd very well. It's got the new carbon fiber Terra seat post, handlebars. You know, it reminds me of my Specialized Athos, and I think you guys know I ride a Specialized Athos as my road bike. Well, this is almost the Athos for gravel. It just does so many things. It's got a 160 millimeter rotor, so you don't have any problem stopping this bike in any kind of condition. But it's just one of those bikes I think would make a great road bike, especially for someone that's, you know, looking to do some fondos or you know, wants to get out of that complete aero position, wants a bike with a little bit more comfort, wants a bike that could do multiple things. So it's great to have a road bike that you can, in the winter months, you can turn into a gravel bike. Now gravel, get you off the roads. You know, the sport of gravel and the gravel family is something that I try to gravitate a lot of riders to. When they try it, they really like it. Sometimes when you first mention the word gravel, people say, I don't want to ride on the gravel. With the right bike, it is very solid, very planted. It makes a great fresh air out there, and there's a lot less cars on the gravel. There's a lot of camaraderie on the gravel too. You're not always in a pace line. Sometimes you're shoulder to shoulder. You're having fun. You're not worried about cars buzzing you. Try the gravel. If you are one of those guys that want a light gravel racing bike, this bike is head and shoulders above anything on the market. It's definitely the lightest gravel bike on the market. But I've had some light bikes that ride like junk. This is a light bike that rides absolutely superbly. It's super fast, it's super responsive, and it's super zippy. But it does it in a way that can keep you compliant and keep you comfortable all day long. So, here from my hotel room in Golden, Colorado, looking at the Specialized S-Works Crux, I am very impressed with this bike. And yes, the Crux was the cross bike up until this year. Now you can still use this bike as a cross bike, so it's a very capable cross bike. I think there's a lot of guys that are racing cross right now that wish they would have had this bike over the last few years. Now then, the Specialized Crux has been a very good cross bike for years, but this bike I think is just going to be a little bit more capable for multiple situations. So if you are still a hardcore cross racer, don't disregard the Crux because it went a little bit more gravel. I think some of those cross racers might be the guys that really end up doing good on gravel too. So this bike lets you do both sports really well, but it also lets you just go out and ride and enjoy. So from the 2022 Specialized Crux and the Bicycle Rider, just know that this bike is something special. If you can get your hands on one, they're in the Specialized dealers now. If they're not, they're being shipped out. So definitely hit up your local Specialized dealer. Come look, touch, feel this bike. Come pick it up. Start looking for people that are changing things around on this bike. It's so new that people haven't had this in their hands for very long. But you're going to see multiple ways to ride this bike in several different situations. And with a SRAM, it is very compatible with other SRAM components. So look for people to change, put a front derailleur on this thing, put a mountain bike derailleur on the back, put bigger gears, put smaller gears. This bike's going to be doing all kinds of things, but I just wanted to show you this bike in raw form here in my hotel room. Now I got to get up early in the morning and go ride bikes, so I'm going to make this video short for now, but just know there's going to be a whole lot more coming out on the Crux. And as we do more gravel racing down in the Biloxi area, just know we're going to have Crux along with the ride. So stay tuned for a long-term review on the Crux. If you do like what we do here on the Bicycle Rider YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. And it just lets YouTube kind of know you guys are watching us, and it helps us keep the channel going. So tell me if you have any questions on the Crux. I'd be glad to give you my answers, and give you the answers from the guys that I've talked to firsthand. I just got done having dinner with these guys, so I can let you know the inside scoop on just all the technology that went into this bike. It's absolutely phenomenal. I got to go ride tomorrow. Over and out from Bicycle Rider YouTube. Thank you.